Good afternoon, this is Bill Nolan. It is December 26th, year 2005. I'm going to play a song for you right now that my brother Tom and I wrote. Tom wrote the lyrics, Tom Nolan, and I wrote the music in early December. Tom sent me the lyrics last spring of this year 2005. This is called Good Friday 1865, dedicated to the life of Abraham Lincoln. It was Good Friday, April 1865. Lincoln and Mary were at Ford's Theater. They went to see a comedy, they went out for entertainment. Lincoln finally believed the war was just about over. They sat with another couple, unguarded, enjoying the show. A man named Booth quietly entered through the balcony door, and he shot Lincoln point blank in the back of his head. The wise and sorrowful Lincoln, one of the last casualties of the Civil War. Lincoln's dream a week or two before, he heard crying in rooms of the White House, crying in many rooms, but there was no one there, until he walked into the East Wing. And so a soldier standing guard over a corpse laid out for burial, Lincoln said to the man in his dream, who is dead in the White House. And the soldier said, the president, he was killed by an assassin. It was a prophetic thought from a famed visionary. It wasn't his only one. be his last. He had dreamt he was on a ship. The ship was traveling to a region known to him. Maybe he knew he was sailing off to death. Maybe he didn't want to know. He was probably okay with it either way. Was it ordained that it was his time to go? God knows he had given his all. He was tired, he was weary, he had saved the Union. He freed the slaves, he held the nation together. Said it himself. God had given him the power. He died on Friday. He was more like Jesus than any man ever knew. South Fork, Nolan Creek, Kentucky, in February 1809, Lincoln was born. The child of poor and humble parents had a log cabin and a family farm. His homespun wisdom from his father, his fatalism from his mom. Wouldn't talk much about his past. He may have felt ashamed. Didn't want to end up like his folks, and he couldn't move away. From Kentucky to Indiana to Illinois, where he made his name. He studied law in the Rome Circuit, became the best lawyer in the state. Lincoln read much and thought so deep, pondered the moral issues of his age. When he first arrived in the political arena, he had not known success. Still it sealed his fate. Destined for greatness, he would rise to prominence from the land of Lincoln as it's known today. There were grand debates with Douglas, and while his eloquence rang true, he still lost that race for Congress, and home unsure what next he'd do. Our man dominated Republican. The election of 1860, and lo and behold, that dark horse Lincoln became the 16th president of this fair land. Boys, your troubles are over now. Mine have just begun with the clash at Fort Sumter. The mighty struggle commenced early on. It was perceived as if it were a sporting event, yet it was inconceivable to all that it would end with over 500,000 gone. Troubles were unimagined. Sorrow pursued him the rest of his days. His dear son Willie died from the fever, while his Molly went slowly insane, by members of his cabinet and men in uniform who refused to engage. General McClellan, the ambitious Napoleon, revealed himself to be all in without fire, and all along the Mason-Dixon unceasingly the battle raged at Shiloh. Bloody river rose higher and higher. Yet throughout Lincoln stayed true. God entrusted him with this mission. steer the ship through troubled waters. Quell the rebellion, preserve the union, he would see it through. He suffered the loss of his child. He held his wife close to her descent into hell. He mourned the loss of innocence, the senseless death on both sides. He agonized over the terrible tragedy that had befallen our nation. Prayed to God for an answer to the question, how much longer before the killing subsides? He had long ago resigned himself to his destiny. He had long ago accepted his fate. Maybe it was his time to go. God knows he had given his all. He was tired, he was weary, he had saved the Union. He freed the slaves, he held the nation together. He upheld the promise of the founding fathers in our nation's darkest hour. He said it himself. God had given him the power. He died on Good Friday. He was more like Jesus any man.